All right, let's dive into Windows Server 2019. Now, this is an operating system that has been the backbone for countless businesses. But, it started its life with what has to be one of the most, let's call it memorable, product launches in Microsoft's recent history, and not for a good reason.
I mean, it's the nightmare scenario for any big company, right? You spend years, so much money developing a product. You launch it, there's all this fanfare, and then you have to yank it off the shelves almost immediately. Well, that is exactly what happened here, and believe me, it is a fascinating story.
But hey, before we get to all that drama, we should probably understand what this thing actually is. So Microsoft really positioned Windows Server 2019 as this crucial bridge, the thing that connects your traditional physical servers, the ones humming away in your office, with their big expanding Azure cloud services. To put it simply, this was the 12th major release in a long, long line of server operating systems from Microsoft. It's built on the very same foundation as Windows 10, and its whole point, its entire reason for being, was to help businesses run what's called a hybrid setup. That means some of your stuff is local, some of it is in the cloud, but it's all supposed to work together, seamlessly. Okay, and that brings us right back to its chaotic beginning. This was not a smooth rollout. No way. It was a complete roller coaster of a launch that really put Microsoft's entire quality control process under a huge microscope. Let's just look at the timeline. So what's just staggering here is the speed of the failure. I mean, after months and months of testing, it's officially released on October 2nd. But just 4 days later, on October 6th, Microsoft had to slam on the brakes and pull it completely. It then took them over a month to fix the problem and finally re-release it on November 13th. Could you even imagine the panic going on at Microsoft headquarters during that time? So what was this bug that was so bad it required a full recall? Well, it was the ultimate nightmare scenario. Data deletion. Yeah. If you tried to do an in-place upgrade on a machine where you had, say, moved your documents or pictures folder to a different drive for more space, the upgrade process could just, poof, wipe them out. Gone. And the root cause was in the shared code with Windows 10, which is just a huge reminder of the massive risks that come with these incredibly complex, interconnected software platforms we all use. Okay, so after that really rocky start, the re-release version was thankfully stable, and IT professionals could finally get down to business. Now, when you're deploying Server 2019, you're faced with two big decisions right out of the gate that basically determine how your server is going to run. The first choice is all about how you want to interact with it. Server core is the recommended path, and for good reason. Think of it like a race car. It's stripped of everything but the engine. There's no graphical interface, you manage it remotely, it's faster, and it's way more secure because there are just fewer parts to attack. Then you have server with desktop experience, which is the total opposite. That's your full family car with the dashboard, the windows, the radio, the whole deal. It's the familiar Windows desktop that a lot of people are just more comfortable with. And your second choice is the Edition, which really just comes down to the size of your operation. You've got Essentials, which is for really small businesses. Then there's Standard, which is the workhorse for most companies running on physical servers. And then you have Data Center. That's the top-tier edition built for massive virtualization, letting you stack a ton of virtual machines all onto a single physical server. Now, let's move beyond the launch drama and the installation choices. Server 2019 brought some seriously powerful new features to the table. And when you look at them, you can really see Microsoft's big strategic priorities and how they were shaping the future of IT. First up was a huge push into something called containers. Just think of them as these lightweight little packages that hold an application and everything it needs to run. This was a massive deal for developers. Server 2019 brought in native support for Kubernetes, which is kind of like an air traffic controller for all those containers, telling them where to go and what to do. And get this is what really shows their hybrid strategy. You could now even run Linux containers directly on a Windows server. That was huge. It was breaking down these old walls between operating systems. Next up, they tackled storage. Look, upgrading servers is a massive headache. So they introduced the storage migration service, which was a total lifesaver. It just made it so much easier to move your data from old, aging servers onto a new 2019 machine. They also brought in something called System Insights, which was super clever. It used machine learning for predictive analytics, so it could actually warn you about potential storage problems or performance issues before they happened. Pretty cool.
Security, of course, got a major upgrade. Windows Defender wasn't just simple antivirus anymore. It evolved into a much smarter system called Advanced Threat Protection, or ATP, that could detect really sophisticated attacks. But the absolute standout feature was something called Shielded Virtual Machines, and this This was a game changer for protecting sensitive data.
So what exactly is a shielded VM? Well, think of it like putting a virtual machine inside a digital safe. It uses heavy-duty encryption to completely lock down the VM. So even if an attacker or maybe a disgruntled employee gets full control of the host server it's running on, they still can't access or mess with the data inside that virtual machine. It's just a really powerful layer of defense.
And finally, for administration, Microsoft made life a whole lot easier for IT pros. The big one here was the Windows Admin Center, a modern, clean, browser-based dashboard for managing all your servers. And in a really smart move that acknowledged the wider tech world, they included OpenSSH, a universally trusted tool for secure remote access, which made managing things from the command line from any system the new standard.
So after all of that innovation and that incredibly rocky start, where does Windows Server 2019 actually fit into the IT landscape today?
Well, as of early 2024, the first phase of its life is officially over. Mainstream support has ended, which just means it's not getting any new features. But, and this is a big but, that definitely doesn't mean it's gone. Not at all. It's now just in the second phase of its life cycle.
And that second phase, it lasts for quite a while. Windows Server 2019 will keep getting critical security updates all the way until January 9, 2029. So what that does is it gives organizations that are still running it a really long runway to plan their migration, whether that's to newer systems like Windows Server 2022 or to speed up their move to the cloud.
And this whole story leaves us with a final thought, a really interesting question. Windows Server 2019 was built from the ground up to be the perfect bridge to the cloud, but you have to wonder, was it maybe too good at its job? Did it make staying on-premises so easy, so powerful, that it actually delayed the very future it was designed to connect to? And that, right there, is the complex legacy of this powerful, if a little flawed, operating system.